Hip yow! Let's do it, boys and girls. Hip hip yow, hip yow. All right. Got a bunch of different things that I wanted to talk about today, bouncing around in the old noggin, and I just kind of want to see what little stream of consciousness route it takes me down. I got some notes written here, but maybe I'll remember most of them off the top of my head. Who knows? We may get to them, we may not. We might save them for a future video. The big one that I've been thinking about lately, especially involving all of the drama, I guess, going on in the world, namely the big scary virus, is sort of pertaining to the dead internet theory. I don't know if you guys have heard of this or looked it up or know what it is. The dead internet theory, basically, it's basically the theory that everything on the internet is controlled and manipulated, and so the World Wide Web used to be much more of an outlaw, Wild West environment when you had the early days of Reddit, and earlier than that with 4chan, and it almost seems so surreal, almost to the point of not even feeling real sometimes when you even interact with people on social media platforms like Facebook that are supposed to be people that you know in real life. You know, there's such a dichotomy, it would seem, even with me and my posts to places like Facebook, as opposed to how I am face to face. And it puts me in a really weird position trying to figure out what's going on, because I grew up before the internet was a public utility, even though it's not quite a public utility yet. I could foresee a potential future where it is a public utility or service. Maybe not. I could also see a future where we're charged for air and water, and you know, just freedom. You know, there's some stuff on that I'm getting into, that I'm starting to read on, and I want to find out more about. So those will be topics in the future. But this whole dead internet theory really has me thinking, because as far back as like 2016, I think 2017, when it was first found out about, you know, we had like Cambridge Analytica help Trump and Senator Cruz, etc., and then all the other stuff that happened because of big firms like that manipulating people's viewpoints based on what they were able to put on that person's feed. And if, you know, the fight for internet freedom, what was the, man, it's the, oh my gosh, net neutrality, right? Net neutrality was a big sticking point for a long time, and I don't even know what's happened with that. It says a lot about me, maybe, but I would say that I'm a microcosm of the everyday person. I don't seem to have vastly different viewpoints from people that I work with or anything like that. I mean, we're friends. The people closest to me who I have really opposing viewpoints to are like my spouse. we have very different political views and views on what's going on and what's happening in the world. So it kind of helps keep me level-headed and straying too far on the wackadoodle charts. But because I have, in the past, I have my conspiracy theories about what's going on and all of that. I mean, we did definitely land on the moon, and 9/11 was a conspiracy theory of, you know, terrorists. They conspired to hijack planes and fly them into the building in order to disrupt world trade and take down the West. You know, people think that 9/11 was an inside job in order to go to war with the Middle East for oil, but if you think about it, those towers did not have to collapse for us to go to war. Really, Tower 7 is the only one I have any questions about. I know people kind of talk about that, and I haven't really looked into the factual side enough. Back to dead internet theory. There's a lot of trolls and a lot of bots and a lot of fake accounts, especially on Twitter. It's gotten so bad that YouTube recently has removed the dislike feature, so you can't even see the amount of dislikes. And can you really be sure that the amount of likes or dislikes on a video or an upvote or a downvote are even real? Who has control over manipulating that? If I can suddenly give a post a boost of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 upvotes on Reddit because I'm in some kind of position of power, then that in turn slightly warps the perception of the people who scroll Reddit. There is a definite, you can, I mean, if you've been on Reddit as long as I have, or anybody, you can see the narrative shift from the popular feed. Our all used to be great, but it's not so great anymore. Those guys like swerving into my lane. What a nutcase. So the dead internet theory is basically that net neutrality has killed it, that we are all allowed access to the internet, but we're not really able to interact with each other, and the people that we do interact with are controlled or something. I haven't looked into it enough, but it really is something to think about, because how much of your narrative is controlled by social media, Reddit, the push notifications on your phone, right? Probably a lot more than you'd like to admit. It used to be CNN and Fox News and MSNBC. Growing up, my parents always had, and even now when I go home to visit sometimes, they will still have Fox News or CNN. You know, at least kudos to them for changing it up and having different stations on for us. But times were so different with the narrative and the way that it was able to be controlled. I mean, Noam Chomsky's book, Manufacturing Consent, still holds a lot of weight. A lot of weight in what is going on and how long it's taken for the powers that be, those on high, TPTB, to control of the web. So if you were like me and you saw what 4chan was when it truly was anonymous, when you saw what Reddit was before Spez took over, when you saw what the internet provided, it was an ungodly amount of, potential. And now it is very, very controlled. So very controlled. It's sad that even on the internet we've lost our freedoms in a way. Well, the dead internet theory kind of got me thinking of another thing, and this is oh man, a video coming from another video I watched on YouTube, and I subscribed to the channel because of it. Like and subscribe, by the way, right? Help me out. Hashtag hearts. But redundant jobs. Essentially, it was about the 5 jobs that are pretty redundant and useless in society. Middle management, things like that. Team leaders, like sales team leaders, like keep people around and give them a reason to feel like they're needed in society. Well, I'm tying that into the metaverse, I feel like, and what's coming and what's happening. There was something a little off-putting, wasn't there, about the beginning of 2020 when, the beer virus hit, and now all of a sudden we had essential and non-essential. And what really hit home for me was when my employer handed me a piece of paper to keep in my car. Paper, like papere, what is it? Papers, please. Papere, whatever it is. I had to keep a paper in my car that said I am an essential worker and I am traveling to or from my workplace in case that I got pulled over. It was a weird time for a lot of people, of course, but it just gets me thinking that essential, non-essential deal is going to play into this whole metaverse. If you're non-essential, or you were classified as non-essential when the Rona hit the fan, then you're probably going to be one of the first to... You've probably already got your jab, and that's okay. I got my first shot. My wife got 2, and she wants to go get the booster, and that's fine. But your perceived reality is going to be that, hey, like, the metaverse is okay, and it's fun, and let's dive on in. And you will, and I will. We all will. I mean, most of us. There's going to be a lot that aren't, but at some point, companies are going to move to the metaverse. Tell me that it's not good for a company when, say, you're calling in for customer service and, okay, like, scratch that. How many companies now, you're on their website trying to answer a question to some troubleshooting problem that you have, and you have the option to call or chat? Well, A lot of us probably use the chat feature now because calling in is just such a pain in the booty anyway. And the horrible wait music, etc. But now, with the metaverse, you're going to give someone a job, or let someone keep a job, which is customer service, support, call center technician, customer service tech, whatever. But when I call in, we'll just use me. When I call in or chat in with an issue, I'll just be able to like throw on my little metaverse headset, and then I'll like be there like with you, your avatar, you being the customer service representative in this example. So now I can see, potentially, at least I can talk to you face to face, and then maybe even potentially see a demonstration of what steps to take to fix my issue. Like if I'm having an issue with my printer or whatever. My 3D printer. Yeah, there we go. So a bunch of these people are going to have these redundant jobs that are moved into the metaverse, such as middle management and raw sales team leaders. You're going to be at home, you're going to be plugged in, and then your sales team is going to all meet in the metaverse conference room. And then, one day you're just going to be plugged out of society. You're going to have that one shot that does it, that myocarditis or whatever the heck is going on, man. Whatever that scary stuff is. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to wax conspiracy on it, but I mean, it is eerie. It is eerie when Bill Gates predicted this big old outbreak, even back in that old magazine article that he had, where he said, I don't know what it's going to be, but it'll probably be some kind of respiratory virus. And then, not even that long ago, he talks about there might even be another smallpox outbreak, or maybe he said there will be another one. I mean, whatever happened with him and Melinda getting the divorce and then Bezos getting the divorce around the same time, I mean, that was odd, wasn't it? You can't tell me that wasn't for anything other than money and power. Divide and spread and multiply. I don't have the mental capacity at the end of a workday to go down that financial route in my head. But he's the big old, population reduction guy. Stop eating meat. Well, you know what? If we want to really reduce greenhouse gases and help the environment out, we need to stop the commercial fishing and the commercial overfishing of our oceans, because that is causing half of the global warming, because we're heating up the Earth's water. Like, commercial fishing is killing the ecosystem. And I don't know. I don't know what to say about it, but it's not the cows, man. It's the fishing. It is the overfishing and the plastic. I mean, hey, these are free at work. The overfishing is doing it. Seaspiracy, great video on Netflix. Great documentary. Poor dolphins, right? But man, like, if this was some form of long play on population reduction, it's how I would do it. I thought about it before all this happened. I would get a bunch of people all hyped up. We're already addicted to Netflix. We're already addicted to movies. Going to the movies, being entertained. Video games, I'm a fan. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and be better than thou with any of this, because I'm not. And I'd get the population depressed. I mean, what was the dude, I remember this one from, it was like you know, it was an AI, and it was like a simulated AI or a computer, and it was like, you know, find a way to keep humans happy. And the way that what it chose was to, it's like keep like how do we keep humans like safe and happy? And it was like lock them in a box, like keep them in a coffin and inject them with heroin, right? Keep them safe in a coffin, in a box, and inject them with heroin. They'll be happy. They'll be stimulated. Well, that's not the best for a lot of people, but very, very similar. Get people in VR world, metaverse world. Give them a nice, comfy bed, you know, to lay down in, so they can be in this metaverse, padded walls, whatever, and then just stimulation. So much stimulation. It's already scary to think about the pornography of it. I mean, teenage boys, I feel bad for. I mean, it was already hard in my lifetime with the emergence of social media, and then you've got good authors like Jonathan Haidt talking about the rise of suicide rates among teen girls because of social media, and then being a teen boy and not being able to, you know, do certain things that teen boys do. And then you're not gonna, like, if you can't get out and interact and socialize with the world, and all you know is VR porn, you're doomed. You're not gonna procreate. And so that's how I would reduce the population. And I thought about this, and what was it, 2018 to 2019, I was at a mall in a sales job at a booth, watching kids in a line with their parents to go be in some virtual reality booth game thing that moved, and, you know, you rolled the roller coaster, whatever the heck it was, man. And listen, you know, if I was a kid, that would be great. That would be so much fun. But now we got to appeal to adults. It's just drip, 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 drip. One little drop at a time. Boiling a frog, turning up the degrees, little by little by little by little by little. It's just a slow descent. We are marching to our own global demise. And I'm not saying it's going to be the end of humanity, but what if this whole face diaper was a priming? This whole pandemic was a whole, like, a way to just prime us. You know, we didn't really know much about coronavirus, this novel coronavirus. We know now with the addendums to the White House reports that it didn't come from a bat in a wet market. And what we do know is a lot more now. And you believe what you want to believe. But if Mr. Population Reduction has his way and releases or, well, I won't say that it will be, I will just say, let's say smallpox becomes a bioterror attack, and it is spreading so rapidly. A disease in which we know how to combat, which is, you know, you can go to, like, I got a little bit of this information by gleaning, but essentially, like, if you get the vaccine quick enough after being exposed, you could still potentially, like, be fine. Like, it's like that. I don't know the science behind it, but that's what the CDC website said, is, like, potentially, like, if you have the vaccine within 1 to 3 days of being exposed, then there's a good chance that, like, you're gonna be good. And that prolonged face-to-face contact is how the disease spreads. And so that kind of triggered my linking, you know, a correlatory brain muscle of the masks. You know, people will be so used to masking up already that they'll mask up and line up for the shot in order to not get smallpox. Yeah. Get in line too, because guess who's getting it last? That's right. Third world countries. And then trickle it up from the dollar signs from there. Because you know who the first people are who are going to be getting them. And then this reeks of, oh man, what was that Russian, I don't know, was it the Bolshevik Revolution? I don't know, where they overthrew and started attacking the upper middle class. Because those were the people, the people up here pointed to the people here, because the people here were pointing to the people down here, that the people in the middle, the accountants, the lawyers, the doctors, the upper middle class, the high earners, those were the bad guys. They're the ones with all the money. And the working class rose up, and man, they started going to those houses and the farms of those people and just ransacking and taking over, and the whole 9 yards. Ugh, gosh, I knew the name. It's so similar to something else. It's off the dome, you know, just off the top of the head. My dad actually talked to me about that. I remember he taught me about that. Going to the gym, gonna hit some shoulders today. Super excited. But this is what that reeks of, is because, you know, the first people to get it are gonna be the people in the know. And it's gonna be the elite with the bunkers. Fine, whatever. We knew they would. And then it's gonna be the upper middle class who can afford it. You know, then it's going to be top military personnel. They already have it, no doubt. Key political figures, I don't know, maybe the president, probably not. You know, it just depends. I don't know. This is all conjecture at this point. But this is nothing, y'all. I think fully this is the primer. So I don't know about where you are. You might be in the big city. You might be in a small town. Well, I'm in a medium-sized greater metropolitan area of about 500,000 people. I think that's right. No, 1 million over. Yeah, we've been growing. So, over 1 million people in our greater metro area, and I live on the outskirts. And where I go to work, masks, we're over it. We're over the masks here. I still wear it at work. We all wear it at work. I don't wear it over my nose. It's not enforced. All we're told is it's just got to be like this. It doesn't have to be over the nose. I mean, the whole idea of it is to stop all your coughing particles anyway. Anyone who tells you to put it over your nose is being a tyrant. The scary part of it all is going to be when it happens for real. Because a lot of people are complacent. And a lot of people who are adamant followers of the rules now, that they don't want this to end because they're so good at following the rules, you guys. Oh my gosh, they're so good at following the rules, and like this is like their jam. But there's a lot of people out there right now who are proud. Like, I never wore a mask during this whole thing. Okay, good for you, man. I get it. I didn't want to wear one, and I got kicked off a job site. I can't go back to that job site because I actively defied authority and thought the mask mandate was stupid, and it was. And it is. But that mindset is going to be detrimental if there is a smallpox or smallpox-like outbreak. So you can find out now, even if there is some sort of smallpox outbreak, since, you know, we did eradicate it, so we don't get vaccinated for it. So if it came back, the stat that I heard on it is that 1/3 of the population is going to die. So think about that. So SHTF, we know, was it FEMA? Anyway, another YouTuber who I hold in high esteem recited those stats that essentially within the first year of an SHTF situation, 50 to 90% of the population will die. So does that account for like a viral outbreak? Because like if like 50 to 90% with like 1/3 as well, it's a lot. It's a lot. 1/3 of the people dying from smallpox. Is that like, you know, 1/3 of the people? If we have, you know, what is there, 7 billion people in the world? Okay, so let's make it 1 billion people in the world. 1/3. So 333,000 people die of smallpox. 50%, does that mean the rest die? Up to 50%. Those are the people on like ventilators. The infrastructure breaks down. They can't get their, you know, diabetes medication, their heart medication, their blood pressure medication, and all of that. And so then they perish. And then who next? Up to like 50 to 60 to 70. What happens? Is that 1/3 in there with the 50 to 90, or is that on top of the 50 to 90 with a viral outbreak like smallpox? I don't know. Scary stuff to think about, but I do believe that things have got to start changing. We got to start doing what a lot of y'all are already doing, and we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. I don't know where that rambling took y'all. I don't know what it means for you, but what it meant for me is that, you know, it is wild to me that I read this years ago in 2014 or 15. 13, 14, 15. Late 2013. We'll call it 2014. Of like what is happening now. Someone talked about. And they laid out like step by step this was going on and this was going to happen, and here we are. And now a Swedish company is talking about getting a microchip that can track your vaccination status, and we'll leave you with that one because I don't want to go into all that. and I want to go work out. So till tomorrow, maybe. Christmas coming up. We'll see what happens. Bye for now.